Hey guys, Chris from Provo Beast Audio Installation, and today we're doing a backup camera on this 2001 Chevy Silverado. In this install, what we're going to be doing is installing a license plate mountable camera to an aftermarket radio in the dash. Let's get started. Now the license plate kit that we've decided to go with is by WordCam. If you want to pick one of these up, we'll have it linked in the description for you. In this kit, essentially it's pretty basic. Comes with the license plate camera itself, which we'll look at in a moment. Comes with camera information. Comes with a little Allen wrench to adjust the camera. Power harness. And video harness. Now looking at the license plate camera itself, it has night vision LEDs, which is cool. It's a little film over the lens just to protect it until we get it installed. But what we like about this for trucks is it's all aluminum. It's a nice heavy piece of aluminum, which is a little bit better for a truck environment because trucks are trucks and they're probably going to see some work. So this is what we're going to be mounting in the license plate location. The way that we're going to hook this up, essentially here this camera has two connections. It has a video out, essentially what the camera sees is fed through this video out, and then it has a power connection as well. Now the cables that come with the camera, we have our power cable. Now the video cable here, essentially here it has RCA ends on both ends. Essentially one end will plug into your camera, then the other end will plug into the back of the radio, carrying that video signal from the plate itself all the way to the radio. What we're going to do is power this camera off accessory, and then we're going to use this as our trigger wire because back behind the radio we need to connect this to the purple white. This truck is old enough, it doesn't have a smart harness, so we have to supply our own reverse trigger wire as well. Now if you have a smart harness, if you have a newer Silverado that requires a smart harness, that smart harness generally will produce this trigger wire. If you want more information on how to hook up a backup camera, there's many different ways. We have a really good how-to video here on the channel that walks you through step by step on different methods of connecting a reverse camera. So at this point, we need to run this wire from the license plate area all the way to the front, but we want to protect it. So we're going to run this through some split loom, and we're also, since we're going to hook our camera up to accessory, we'll also include an extra wire in this bundle as well. Okay, so what we've done here is we've prepped our wire, and I'm going to show you the connections we've decided to make. So the connections that plug into the camera are pretty standard. And what we've decided to do, so for the lead that comes off our video wire here is going to be your trigger wire, but it's only this long. It's too short to actually go up to the reverse light. We're going to the reverse light positive. So what I've done is I soldered on and heat shrunk about 3 feet more of just red wire. And this, in this split loom, will go all the way up to the reverse light, and we're going to tap into the reverse light positive on the tail light. Now, of course, our camera also needs a ground, and since we're going all the way up there, on the camera side, the black harness, the camera ground and power, the ground side, I'm going to run it up to the reverse light. So you see that there? Camera ground goes into that loom, and then our trigger wire goes into that loom. And this is, like I said, about 3 feet. We'll run this up to the reverse light area. Now the other side, the camera video wire, as well as our camera power, I've also added more wire and had a ton of this 18 gauge white wire. What we're going to do is connect that power wire through this long, and I ran this along the video wire, and this is just going to go to an accessory source. There is a fuse box on the driver's side, left side of the dash that we're going to tap into, and we'll go to accessory power there. So essentially this is power for the camera, video for the camera, and then this other one is trigger wire and then ground for the camera. So hopefully that makes sense. We're going to get this all installed, make our connections, and we're going to split loom everything, and I've split loomed the whole length of this wire. Alright, we're just about ready to now get this installed. We put some heat shrink up and over those connections here. And really at this point in time, let's grab all this bundle of wire now head over to the truck and start getting everything installed. Okay, so we got our camera temporarily mounted before we get the plate on, and then we'll use that Allen wrench to adjust the pitch of the camera. Now let's jump underneath to show you how we're routing the cables. So we're up underneath. You can see that's where the wire comes down. We zip tied it to this existing loom. Into connections, then we went up. Now remember, one end will go this way. That's where it came out. This is going to be our trigger wire and our ground for the camera. We'll go up through there once we pull up a tail light to make those connections to the positive wire for the trigger and then the negative wire for the ground. Then the other end, we fished it up there. You can kind of see our loom working our way up. We followed the factory loom, zip tying it all the way. From here, we accessed it from the wheel well, and we just went along across the top of the tank along the factory loom. And it comes out in front of the tank along the factory loom, zip tying it. We still got to cut those flush. Working our way along. We've made it to that point. But we need to pop the reverse tail light out so we can access the wiring there, and then we need to find floor access so we can run our cable up into the cab. All right, so now we need to have access somewhere here in the floor to pull our wire up through into the cabin of the car. Now, right outside the frame here is our fuse box, which we'll show you here in a minute. So it's a short run for the accessory wire that needs to go up and connect, but for the video wire, it needs to go up to the dash to the radio spot. So we're gonna go ahead and make some space here so we can find a good grommet to run our wire through. All right, so this allows us, there's a little bit of movement there and access on the side to see if we can snake a wire up through there, and then we'll try to seal that back up so we don't have any leaks. So what we'll do is we'll make a little cut on the side here and fish our wire up through that hole. All right, we went right up through that grommet there. It's nice and sealed up and around the wire. We ran our cable up along. Now this is where our accessory wire comes out, because we're going to tap into the fuse box using an ATA circuit, which we'll show you what that looks like here in a minute. But we're going to find a circuit that's only on when the key is on. And then we continue running the video wire up. We went up and over the gauge cluster, then into the stereo cavity. So with that wire, it needs to go to our video input on the back of the radio, and then the trigger wire needs to connect into the purple light on the back of our doubled in. So at this point, we can put our kick panel all back together. All right, so we're ready to add our circuit here. So we need to power a camera. Remember, this goes to the power wire on the camera. This is called an ATA circuit. This is pretty cool. It comes in all different sizes depending on the size of the fuse that you're trying to tap in the circuit to. What we've done is use the test light and identified a fuse that's only on when the key is on, and it's this 10 amp right there. Now how this works is we go ahead and pull that on out. We'll put that fuse that we pull out in our fuse holder right there in that empty spot, and we'll put it back in. And essentially what that does, it retains that original circuit fused and adds our own fuse, which it doesn't add a load or anything to that other circuit, which is exactly what we want. And in addition, provides our own fuse line all the way to our accessory, and in this case, a camera. So we'll crimp this on, we'll plug that on in, and we have power. All right, so we crimp that on. We put that circuit in, and you see the original 10 amp fuse is back in our ATA circuit, and then our additional circuit, we have a 15 amp, goes through the adapter itself and down to our backup camera, and that's it. That's simply it. So really at this point of time, we don't need anything else here in the fuse box besides testing it, so we can put our panel back on and work in the dash. All right, so we're here in the dash ready to make our connection to the radio. Now our radio is out, and if you are wondering how to install an aftermarket radio, we'll have 2 videos on the channel, one specifically for this truck where we converted a DIN and a half to a double DIN touchscreen. That'll go in this location. We'll have a link in the description as well as a card up above that walks you through step by step on how we did that, including pulling the radio out. Okay, so for our backup camera here, we have our harness in the dash, our aftermarket radio harness. The backup camera is this trigger wire here that we need to hook up, which is purple white on the Sony. Again, check with your manufacturer to make sure you know which wire does what. And our trigger wire, remember, this goes all the way back to the reverse light, and then this end goes into the camera input on the back of the radio. So we'll look and find that camera input RCA and plug that on in. Let's go ahead and get our radio reinstalled. Alrighty, we got the radio all back in. Let's do a quick demo for you. Reverse here. Perfect. Out of reverse. Awesome. Now this goes back to the home screen because we wired it the way we did. Fortunately, this allows us also to use the rear camera to see what's behind us, also in not reverse, which is super nice. Well, that's about it for this install. If you have any questions on what we did here, go ahead and post a comment below. Again, if you want to see this radio installed, go ahead and check the description. We'll have a link there, as well as a card up above, where it walks you through step by step on how we did this dash conversion in this Chevy truck. Thanks again for watching. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and we will see you in the next video.